Everything you thought you knew about the War on Terror is only part of the story, and that missing part is exactly what powerful institutions rely on to shape public perception. 24 years after 9/11, the US-led counter-terror campaigns have left an indelible mark on the world. But what goes viral online is mostly spectacle: missile strikes, terrorist attacks, partisan outrage, while the devastating long-term consequences are buried. Independent studies estimate that direct deaths from US-led operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, Syria, and Yemen already exceed 1 million civilians. And when you factor in indirect deaths from destroyed healthcare systems, starvation, displacement, and economic collapse, the total climbs into the millions. Entire generations have grown up without schools, hospitals, or basic stability, yet social media rarely shows the graphs, reports, or human stories behind the numbers. Airwars reports tens of thousands of civilian deaths from US airstrikes alone, far above official tallies, and these operations continue quietly in conflict zones that the public seldom sees. The 2014 Senate Intelligence Committee report exposed CIA black site prisons, systematic torture, and intelligence failures that wasted billions and undermined America's credibility. But that information never went viral. Guantanamo Bay, the symbol of lawless detention, still holds men decades later, while transfers and token releases are spun in mainstream outlets as signs of progress. Social media creates a critical information gap. Algorithms reward dramatic clips of explosions or attacks, but bury long-term data-driven investigations. Millions of lives affected by mass displacement, ruined economies, and legal abuses are invisible online while shocking short-form videos trend globally. Trillions of dollars have been spent on counter-terrorism, yet terrorism persists and in some cases worsens because interventions fueled insurgencies and hardened extremist networks. Wars exported violence across borders, destabilized regions, and created populations deeply distrustful of Western intervention. Civilian casualties, destroyed infrastructure, and political destabilization are massively underreported, deliberately in many cases because sustained attention would demand accountability. UNAMA's 2021 report on Afghanistan documented civilian deaths far higher than headlines suggested, yet the public barely noticed. The ultimate uncomfortable truth is that the war on terror, marketed as a campaign for safety and justice, has often produced the opposite: insecurity, lawlessness, and moral compromise. The Costs of War project at Brown University, Airwars UNAMA, and investigative outlets have compiled extensive data. Yet most social media users remain unaware because the platforms that shape public outrage favor speed, virality, and spectacle over depth, nuance, and long-form evidence. So here's the question most feeds won't answer. If trillions have been spent, millions of lives lost, civil liberties eroded, and social media amplifies only fragments of the truth, who is truly benefiting? And why are the hidden costs still invisible? The strategy that promised security has delivered instability, exported violence, and left a legacy of generational trauma. Children who survived drone strikes grew up amid poverty, hatred, and resentment toward governments they had no part in creating, fueling cycles of radicalization and insurgency that keep the war on terror alive decades later. Hospitals, schools, and local economies destroyed in airstrikes are rarely rebuilt, yet short video clips of strikes dominate feeds, creating a false sense of understanding and progress. The platforms that decide virality also decide what counts as news, ensuring that the parts of the war on terror that demand accountability remain buried, while the shocking, bite-sized content gets endless attention. And here's the final twist: the very systems designed to protect the US and its allies, counter-terror operations, black site detentions, extraordinary renditions, and drone campaigns, have often created more long-term insecurity than they removed. So the information gap isn't accidental. It's a feature of the attention economy. If you scroll past the data, the reports, and the human cost, the war on terror continues quietly, shaping generations while public outrage is curated, filtered, and commodified. The solution isn't easy. Demand independent verification of civilian harm, full declassification of strike and detention records, accountability for systemic abuse, and platforms that elevate facts over clicks. Because if we keep consuming conflict as content rather than context, the war on terror won't end. It will just keep silently shaping the world while the real cost remains hidden from sight. And remember, every viral clip, every trending hashtag, every shocking video is part of a carefully constructed narrative that hides the most important question. What are we really fighting for, and who is paying the price?